Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to 810 WHB TV. I'm Schaefer Schutz, joined by Coach Rick Zeke, the head basketball coach of Park Hill South High School. We are at Rancho Grande Cantina, where tonight all enchiladas are $1 off. So you make the quick trip over here, get to hear Coach Zeke talk a little bit, and enjoy some pretty good food. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's always fun to come out.
To open it up, you were at Bishop Miege for almost 20 years. I would like to talk about one of your former players is going to be at Mizzou this weekend.
Yeah, former player Trevor Rilliford will be up at MU. He's been really started for 4 years at Alabama, really good high school player. Trevor will be playing against Missouri at 1 o'clock. So some people that coach him, I'm going to go up, my wife, family, we're going to go up and see him. I'm going to talk to him again tonight. We're going to meet with him, have some dinner with him. So that'll be fun. Seeing some old players, and I think a lot of his old teammates are coming up. So that'll be fun to go up to Columbia.
As a high school basketball coach, what is that like, getting to see those players move on to the next level and playing at such a high level?
Well, it makes you feel good. I don't know. Trevor was an excellent player, so it's not like it was coaching. But he played with some really good players. He loved playing at Bishop Miege. He had a lot of good friends. But he probably is one of the best players that I've ever coached. He's just an excellent, excellent player.
All right. Well, last year was your first year here at Park Hill South. Summarize that year a little bit.
Oh, very enjoyable. I think we ended up 19-7. A good group of kids, very enjoyable. I think as a team, we took second in about everything we did, and I think going into this year, we want to try to build on that. And we know it's going to be a long journey. And we lost a tough one just the other night, and was telling our team there's got to be a purpose for that. So there's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully that's going to be in the districts and the way we end up in the throughout the year.
Well, you mentioned this season the boys are 7-4 right now, and I know that a lot of them aren't happy with that because of those 4 losses. Were very winnable games. Explain a few of those games and what happened and what needs to change.
I think we've beaten the teams that we should have beaten. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not that we haven't played poorly, but we were just talking with our team the other day. We're just a few shots and a few free throws from being 11-0. But the reality is that we're 7-4, and we have to keep getting better. And we've been dealing with lineup changes, trying to move some things around, continually try to see if we can get better. And, some of them have been experiments, some of them not. Sometimes they've worked. But, the kids have adjusted. Again, somebody's got to lose. And sometimes we've been on the back side of that a little bit. But I think as a team, we know that we're really close from winning and beating some really good people. And I think we've played a pretty good schedule.
Tuesday night, the boys lost the definition of a heartbreaker at home against a very good Liberty Blue Jays basketball team. Talk a little bit about that loss and what happened.
Well, I think you start with the fact if they're the third or fourth best team in the state in the rankings, then we're pretty good. We're pretty good, but we were in position to win another game and didn't get it done. Some of the decisions at the end, I told our kids, we need to get better. I need to get better. My decisions, their decisions, sometimes out of timeouts, we didn't do what they were told to do. We didn't execute with taking care of the ball to some of the late possessions. And then, we're not going to be really good until we can hit some free throws down the stretch and put the nail in the coffin. But, we went blow to blow with them. And if they're one of the best teams in the state, we can play with the Blue Springs and the Liberties of the state. I don't think we'd be scared to play any of them. And hopefully we get to play them with everything on the line. And that's what, hopefully they believe that, and I believe that, and that's going to motivate them to keep working hard every day.
A little bit earlier you mentioned the lineup changes. Would you elaborate a little bit on that for us?
Well, I think we went into the year and we thought we had really 5 of our best players. We wanted to try to get them on the floor. And we forced Peyton into playing some point guard, and he did great. Then we said, let's maneuver in here. We were going to use Mitch Henderson and James Bird, let them in there, see if it freed up some of Peyton, some of our 2 guards to get some more looks, and really work with the post players on getting better. That seemed to make us a little bit more comfortable offensively and defensively, and we're sticking with that right now. We're getting more from Peyton, and we move Hudson back into the post. I think he's more comfortable there. We're trying to get Evan off an injury, Robert more involved. Allen more involved. So it's constantly moving and shaking a little bit. And I told guys at the beginning of the year, your role at the beginning of the year might totally change. And, what's good is that I think we have four post players that compete for time. We have guards that compete for time. And, we've had guys that haven't practiced well and they haven't played a lot. So I think the writing's on the wall that you need to come ready to practice and compete or somebody's going to take your job.
Now I'd like to kind of go down the roster a little bit and talk individually about some of the players. We'll start at the one, Mitch Henderson. Talk a little bit about what he brings to the table that's different from the previous lineups.
Well, I think Mitch brings us a point guard. The guy's going to get us in our offense. He's a good defender. He's smart. We just got to keep working with his decisions. And point guard's it's not fun. It's not fun playing for me because I blame everything on the point guard. It's not easy. But at the same time, he's just got to get his feet wet in there. He's got to handle pressure, and he's done that. And Mitch can shoot. I mean, he gives us another shooter on the outside. But so far, we've been real happy. And James kind of comes in and spares him a little bit. And when Mitch gets tired, it's a tough position to play. But we've been happy with Mitch. And, there's going to be some games that we're going to take some turnovers. He just can't let one turnover be two turnovers. He's got to relax and play with some poise. And I think every team that plays us says we got to go after their guards. They can't handle the ball. So you're going to start seeing some teams press us as soon as we come off the bus.
We've heard and seen a lot of Peyton Meek, who was playing point guard at the beginning of the season. You switched him back to shooting guard. Explain kind of that thought process and how that's turned out for you.
Well, I think that's his natural position. I mean, Peyton's going to help us win. And when I asked him, hey, can we play you there? He was comfortable. We were looking for different ways to get him more involved. At the point position, we ran some stuff to get him posted up. He didn't get a lot of shots. His natural positions, too. It's kind of like taking your football guy, taking a running back and making him a receiver, or taking a receiver and trying to make him a running back. But we get more out of him. He's getting more shots. He's got to knock some shots down. We got to get him to the free throw line a little bit more, and we can do that a little bit at the two.
I would also like to talk about the not so little Welty, Ryan Welty, and what he brings to the table.
Well, Ryan's, I think statistically wise, no doubt he's our best shooter. And we see him in practice every day. He can really shoot the basketball. He's long. He's had games with 7 or 8 rebounds. He's got a great future. He's just a sophomore. We got to get him bigger and stronger, and he knows that. And we got to get him to put him on the floor. And Ryan's our best free throw shooter. And I kid with him all the time. We only get you to the line about 12 or 13 times all year. We got to get him. We got to get him to put the ball on the floor, attack the elbow, the baseline. But Ryan's like Hudson. They're great kids, and all of our kids are very coachable. Don't say a word. They'd run through the brick wall for you. And Ryan at times had to play some, so against a big-time defender. So his length really helped us. And, he's got 2 more years ahead of him. He's going to be an excellent college basketball player, I think.
You already mentioned his brother Hudson. Talk a little about the connection between those two on the basketball court.
The connection between the two. Well, I think they're very close. One thing I could tell about the Weltys is that they're the first ones there, and they're probably the last ones to leave. And if I wanted to, tell a coach or, give a kid a compliment, and that's work ethic and hard work, and there's no doubt. I usually open up the gym a half an hour to 45 minutes before practice, and it's like clockwork. Here come the Weltys. They walk in, they unlock the balls, they turn the lights on sometimes, and they're working at it. And I tell our players that all the time, and they have a lot invested into our season. And so does Peyton and a lot of the other kids. But as a coach, you want to try to put the game into the hands of the kids that got most invested. And if we got one shot to go, it's probably going to be in Hudson and Peyton and Ryan's because they've got the most invested into the season. So, and they're great. They're really good kids. They're good kids.
Another post I'd like to talk a little bit about. Evan Hines transferred from, I believe, Hogan Prep last season. Wasn't able to play. First, I would like to ask you what happened in that transfer where he wasn't eligible that past season. Well,
Hogan did not okay his transfer, so the paperwork did not go through, which hurt Evan because he couldn't even play JV under Missouri State rules. So he practiced a little bit, then he gave up on practicing, which really hurt him. So he's never really played varsity basketball. I know he's played a little bit of competitive basketball in the summer, but it's obvious that he doesn't know a lot about the game right now. He's got some skills. He's been hurt, and it's the bottom of his foot. We're getting him over that a little bit. He shows signs of, his potential. And, Evan's one of those kids. He's just got to keep working at the post. He's 6'6" and he's long, but he's got to get bigger and stronger. And he's got to learn how to play a little bit. And his best basketball might be ahead of him. And we're looking for good things down the stretch. But he does not have the experience. He struggles with plays at times. So I really struggle with that and the other players. But he can do some wonderful things. He's a good athlete.
Another transfer that moved into the district this season, James Bird. Talk a little about him, how he comes in and kind of relieves Mitch a little bit, and what he brings.
Well, James brings a little bit. He's a little bit quicker than Mitch. We got to get him to take care of the ball. He can shoot the ball a little bit. We got to get him a little bit more discipline. But James could end up being a very, very good defender, a big part of our season. And like I said, right now him and Mitch are sharing the position. But, we see good things with him. He's just a junior, too, and he's never played varsity basketball.
Mm-hmm. Another one of the posts, Robert Lane. We've seen a lot of him since his sophomore year, played quite a bit early. Haven't seen as much of him this season. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Robert came with some injuries off of football. And he's still, it seems like every day there's a new injury, but we're trying to get him involved a little bit more. He's working harder. Robert, he's just got to work hard every day. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't, it's because of the competitiveness, he's going to struggle to get on the floor. But I think he's turned the corner a little bit, and I think he knows that, for us to win, Robert has to be a viable part of our basketball team. He provides a little strength down there. He's got to be able to hit free throws. He's working on it. But with his body physically, if you come to one of our practices, there's at times Robert could dominate. And there's at times you wouldn't even know he was there. So we got to get him healthy. He's got to work hard, and he's got to work hard every day with Robert. And it's the same thing with football. If you got to motivate a kid every day and babysit him, then you question how hard he wants to play. Robert's made the commitment now. He said, I want to play. And he's worked hard. So hopefully his best basketball's ahead of him too.
All right, well, wrapping up the lineup, Alan Hyatt. People seem to forget about him a little bit. Definitely an impact player. Makes a lot more of an impact than the average spectator would notice. Talk about what he brings to the floor.
Well, Alan brings hard work and dedication also. And Alan faces a tough practice now with Robert ready, Evan ready, Hudson. He practices against some pretty good post players every day. And Alan knows that some guys are picking their game up, and he's got to keep his game up at a level. He's an excellent defender. We lose a lot when he's not on the floor defensively. He's a good rebounder, and I think he's learning that with four guys, there's only so much time, and he's a big part of our future, and he's just got to continually get better and keep working hard every day at practice.
Definitely. We actually have a couple of these players with us, and I think we're going to get to talk to them right after a quick break.
Mitch and Ryan are great students, great ambassadors for our program, and you'll enjoy talking to them.
Well, we'll get them up here right after a quick break. You're watching 810 WHB TV.
There's no difference between Bobby Knight
care of the ball and, essentially just trying to help your team win whenever you're out there. So, it doesn't matter when you come in the game or how long you stay, still just work hard and play hard. So,
The last question I want to ask you, what does Coach Zeke do that just drives you absolutely insane?
it drives me absolutely insane.
There's probably a list of things.
There's so many things.
Point guards aren't supposed to like me.
I'm up in the stands and I don't really like it very much.
There's if I had to pick one, I'd say that when you come down, you call a play, and someone screws it up. It's always you that kind of gets the whip. Someone doesn't run it right. It's Mitch. Get over here. What are we doing? Set up an offense.
And he doesn't have brain surgeons out there. The other four guys aren't brain surgeons, trust me.
Yeah, so sometimes it's frustrating, but Coach Zeke does a great job, and we all respect him and love him. So.
All right, that's a good answer. Good, safe answer.
And Mitch has done a great job. I tell him he's like a quarterback. Just control the offense, take care of the ball. You're going to have some turnovers, but he's taking care of the ball. It's not like the turnovers have been our problem. He's got to stay aggressive. I think you're going to see tomorrow, Staley's probably going to play him from inline to inline. He's got to keep his head up, and sometimes we got to do it with the pass instead of the dribble, and we're better when we do it off the pass instead of dribble. But Mitch has not been our problem. Mitch is he's competed and he's getting better, and these two guys are really a big part of our future.
Mitch, I would like to ask you one or two more questions. Actually, I talked to Coach Zeke a little bit about the heartbreaking loss on Tuesday. From your perspective, how was it? How did you take a loss like that?
It's real hard. No one ever wants to lose, but someone has to lose. It's so frustrating just knowing that we were there so many times trying to close out the game, and we, as a team and as an individual, we just couldn't get it done. Myself included. You go back and think of the little things that could have changed the game, but you can't think about that. You just got to move on and get ready for the next one. Get ready to play hard.
What do you need to do differently to win close games like that?
Oh my goodness, there's just so many things that come to mind. Obviously, free throws are a huge part of it, but clock management. Sometimes we get so rushed and sped up in the fourth quarter by press and stuff that sometimes we get timid, we stop attacking the basket instead of playing like we have the first three quarters. But we're learning, we're getting better, and I think that we'll learn how to finish, and we'll get there.
All right. I would like to move on a little bit to Ryan, the little welty.
Yep.
Ryan, I know everyone's wondering, when you and Hudson walk out into the front yard and you're playing a game of one-on-one, who wins?
I usually win most of the time. Sometimes, I want to let him win, so to make him feel good. But most of the time, I win.
The last show, Hudson said he never lost.
Really?
That's what's weird. He said he never lost against.
We're going to need to broadcast a game in the welty front yard.
Not a bad idea.
Ryan, you've played quite a bit since your freshman year. How has that affected you this season, having that experience early?
Yeah, it's a season under my belt. Helps me a lot, The physicality is a lot, everybody's bigger. So 1 year under my belt, I got stronger, and just one season under my belt, like I said.
We already talked about Hudson a little bit. I want to hear from you the connection between you two. What's that like playing with your older brother that you've looked up to?
There's really not a on-the-court connection. We are brothers, but he's a teammate of mine, and
it's all business.
Yes, it's all business when we enter the court. No goofing around, so I wouldn't really say there's much connection there.
I've seen Hudson get pretty scary sometimes when he's yelling at you.
Too, yes.
Talk a little bit about that. What's that like for you, hearing that and then having to go home and eat dinner with him?
Yeah, it's a scary thing. You're afraid and you got to sleep with your eyes open. But, yeah, you got to deal with it. You got to go with the flow. So it all works out.
I would also like to ask you, I asked Mitch this earlier. He took the safe way out. What does Coach Zeke do that drives you absolutely insane?
That's a great question, Schaefer. nothing really comes to mind. He's a great coach. I appreciate everything he does for me. I guess you could say, he's a yeller. Sometimes, it gets in your mind, but other than that, I think he's a great coach. Just great coach.
Yeah, the thing about Ryan is I think Coach Miner and I went up to him one day and said, "How would you like to play guard last year?" And he giggled.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, we said, "If you ever had to play point guard, could you play point guard?" And then we said, "You might have to play four-man." Ryan never said a word, never complained. Mitch never complained. I mean, there's two really, really good kids that are great teammates, and again, they're a big part of our future. But Ryan never thought he was going to be playing two-man last year, and I think in the summer he's a post, and he's turned himself into a really good perimeter player. And I don't know if he'll end up perimeter. He keeps getting bigger and bigger, but he's tough to handle. We got to get him on the block a little bit more, and he's got a score in there. The other day we really posted him up a couple times, and he passed in there. We don't want him to pass. We want him to shoot and get big and physical and take those low guards down there and score. Sometimes he's too nice. Now his brother's going to get down there and he ain't passing. He's scoring. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's big and strong and he wants to put it up. So, but they're two really, really good players, good kids.
Well, right now I think we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back and talk a little bit about the future of the Panthers. You're watching 810 WHB TV. Welcome back to 810 WHB TV. I'm Schaefer Schutz, joined by the head basketball coach at Park Hill South High School, Rick Zeke, point guard Mitch Henderson, and Ryan Welty, who just likes to do it all. We're going to talk a little bit about the future of this season. Who you got coming up?
Well, we have Staley at Staley tomorrow, which will be a really good game. I'm really scared because we played them so many times in the fall that it seems like that some of our guys really think it's going to be a walk in the park. But after watching a lot of video, they can do a lot of things that could hurt us. So we need to come out and we need to play well. And one of the things we did yesterday at practice is kind of said, hey, we're in our second season. Let's not worry about what happened Tuesday. Kind of had some fun, shot some free throws. So I'm really hoping that mentally we come ready to play on the road tomorrow and take care of Staley. And then we go into the North Kansas City tournament, which will be very competitive. And then we settle into league play, playing everybody twice. So, we're done with tournaments after next week, and it's just straight conference play.
This next question's for you guys. Mitch, you can go ahead and take the mic first. What are you looking for in the Staley basketball team? What weaknesses or what strengths do they have that you're trying to expose? And how do you think that you guys are going to have to play against these guys to pull out a win?
Oh, well, they're a real good team, and they're going to play us tough. So, and like his coach said earlier, they'll play us, 90 feet from baseline to baseline. So I think, we just got to keep our head up, me especially, get through the press and look to score, after we get after the half court, get easy buckets, and, that'll be a good way to win.
This next one is for Ryan. Ryan, following the Staley game tomorrow, he mentioned the North Kansas City tournament. That is kind of where you started to establish yourself your freshman year. Talk a little bit about how you're going to return there and how you hope to finish this year as compared to last year.
Yes, last year we got second place. We lost to Truman. First round we'll be playing Belton, which we have already played them this year. It was, 12, 13-point game. But after, we got to come out on top of that. And then we have Truman, which we lost to them last year. So we want some revenge on that, get them back. And hopefully this year we can pull out and get first place instead of second place.
After the tournament at North Kansas City, we're going to be hosting Lee Summit West. That's actually going to be on 810 WHB TV. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from them so far this season and what you hope to expose.
You'll probably talk about one of the most talented teams on the Missouri side. Quickness, not a lot of size, but guards are excellent. They got, if not the best athlete in the city, one of the best athletes with Harrison, who's going to play above the rim. We got to get back on defense. We got to contain their guards. We split with them last year. Last year they beat us by 30, and then we beat them at our place. So it'll be a big challenge. And there's other teams in the league. Every time you go on the road, and we have to hold serve at home, very important. And we have to win on the road in this conference. So it's not just Lee Summit West, but I think Truman's going to be create a problem in almost every league game. So we just got to continually just to get better and keep moving those parts around, see if we can find it, and make sure we're going in the right direction come March.
Before we go, I would like to ask you, what are your goals for the end of this season? Where do you see this team finishing, whether it be in district play, state play?
Well, we sat down with players and talked about our goals. It's not my goals. It's their goals, first of all. And the goals they created is, number one, we wanted to be undefeated at home, and that didn't really work out Tuesday. Number two, we want to win the district. And they want to play away from a gymnasium. They want to play an independent center, and they want to win tournaments. So here's our last tournament, and our main goal was to win the district. So we're continually going to look ahead. We just, our goal right now is, are we better every single game? And I could say we're much better than we are right now than we were walking into the William Jewell tournament. We're much better, and we've been challenged, and they've been good teams, and that's how you get better. So you can sit in a huddle and say, hey, we played Liberty, we played, Blue Springs South. Now you just got to execute against Staley. And we just, again, we got to get guys healthy, and we got to learn how to play together a little bit, and we got to understand our roles. So, some guys might be playing more than others. We just got to continually to find that right connection, and some guys are going to come off the bench that were starters. If that's your role, that's your role, and hopefully they can get into their roles and really, play together as a team, as I guess. Attitudes are, high school kids are always going to have some, but by the time you're in a March, you need to know where you fit in with that team, embrace it and just move forward.
Coach Zeke mentioned that the team's goals are your goals. What are your goals for the end of this season? Where do you hope to be? Where do you hope to finish?
I would like to win districts. Last year we came up short to St. Joe Central. This year we'd like to come out on top and like to play at the Independent Center. I think we have a really good chance. We'll probably play Liberty if we get there and if they get there. So I think we have a good chance of making it to state.
Mitch, one of my last questions is going to be for you. I understand there was a player-called team meeting yesterday after the tough loss to Liberty at home. You guys were up the entire game, and when they finally went up, time ran out, and they ended up with the W. Talk a little about what was said at that meeting and how it is going to influence you and the other players.
Well, the main thing we talked about at the meeting was just how to finish. Because obviously, the 4 games we've lost, we've struggled to just put teams away. And it's not, we didn't really talk just, we have to hit free throws, but things that we can do, not with 50 seconds left, but with 4 minutes left in the game. And we all went around and kind of said what we think and what we see from all of our different perspectives, and we kind of, accumulated it, and talked about it. I'm sure Peyton and Hudson had a conversation, captain to coach with Coach Zeke, and hopefully just to get things straightened out so we can, put teams away when we get in that position.
We definitely hope that happens for you. Wish both of you the best of luck, Coach.
Well, and Mitch brought that out. And I've been coach, I think it's my 31st year, and I don't have very many situations that players said, hey, we had a meeting, this is what we said, this is what we do. And Hudson and Peyton and I met yesterday, and, hey, I'm all for it. If they want to run this instead of this, hey, that's what we're going to do. And we start thinking about that today, and it's their team, and we said it. We've had good teams. If I want everybody to win a district championship when playing a state tournament, that's what I would hope for every kid. Now, what do we need to do? We're going to listen to our players. And the first thing they said is, no, it's our fault. No, it's not their fault. It's my fault. I'm responsible for everybody who puts that uniform on. It's my fault. If we're 7-4 and they're not happy, it's my fault. We're going to get better. And I was all ears, and we were going to do, promise you, what they said they would like to do. And this is coming from the team. If it's working, I think that is super. I don't think I ever claimed to know everything, don't know anything. I'm Polish and not very smart. I'm smart enough to listen to players. And we're going to move forward with what they want. And I feel real comfortable in doing that. But there's a lot of guys that could coach basketball on that team. They're not dumb. They're not dumb. So we listened, we talked. We're not going to point the finger. We all know who misses free throws, but I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. If you're going to point the finger, you point at me. I'm responsible for everybody, and we got to get better. Coaches got to get better. They got to get better, and we're going to make adjustments with that. And hopefully, by the time we get out of the tournament, we know a little bit more about ourselves, and we're still changing defenses and changing things on offenses to see if we can put the right players in the right spots. We got to know who we are going out of that tournament. What do we do best, and who are we, and what's our identity? And I think with seniors coming up and say, Coach, can we talk to you? Literally with tears in their eyes, it's our fault. It's not their fault. It's my fault. I'm responsible for Park Hill South. And we're going to move forward, and we're not going to think about it. And, that's just 11 games. And they're just kids. They want to win. Well, we want to win. Coaches want to win. I told my wife on the way home, she goes, how you doing? I said, I'm on suicide watch. If there's a bridge on I-35, keep me away from it. But that's, they don't realize that you're watching Staley at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're worried about the next game and the next game and the next game. And you don't do it for yourself. You do it so they can, win. And I told them yesterday, the fun part's winning. It's not fun practice. It's not fun losing. And they want to win. So hopefully those free throws go in. They hit them in practice. They just got to hit them with the games on the line. So,
before we finish up, I would like to ask you one more question. You've coached a lot of very good basketball teams, a lot of very good basketball players in the past. What separates this team? What makes this team different from the other teams that you've coached?
Well, there's a lot of positive and there's some negative. And what I told our teams is this. The really good teams are called winners. Our guys don't believe we're called winners yet because we haven't closed it out. Really good teams find a way to win. The really good players that I've had count their free throws. It's easy for them. The pressure doesn't get to them. And I don't know if it's pressure, and I don't know if it's just not getting any luck. Some guys are called winners because they do it at the end of the game. We have to get those players that do it at the end of the game. We're really good for 3.5 quarters. We just got to finish it. And hopefully we're going to do that. But we discussed that. If you're not doing it at the end of the game, are you called a winner? I don't think you're a loser, but the really good teams have people to finish it off.
All right, Coach, I would like to thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Coming
Anytime.
out tonight. Gentlemen, thank you. We'd also like to thank Rancho Grande Cantina for allowing us to do this here. And the next broadcast that you'll see from us will be January 31st, the home game against Lee Summit West. You're watching 810 WHB TV.